Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Oh, welcome to another episode of my Barlow Ramble. If you've been enjoying this, I think this is like the 8th episode of this, and I've got a few more episodes still to go. Right now, what I'm going to be doing is looking at some of the Chinese-made ones that I have. The last episode, I looked at my case Barlows. I've already shown most of my Rough Rider Barlows. They were also made in China, but these are other Barlows that were made in China. The few that I'm going to leave out are the ones that are from Novelty Knife Company. I will be showing all the Novelty Knife Company Barlows together, but because I have Chinese-made Barlows from a variety of companies, I just thought I'd show the other ones, other than the Rough Riders. Well, there's one Rough Rider that I will also be showing. But anyway, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to give it that old thumbs up and leave a comment below. I really do want to hear from you. As I mentioned before, I've still got several others to show, but the rest of these will be made in probably the United States. I might have a couple that are made in England as well. I don't think I have any Barlows that are made in Germany. Might have to rectify that. But in any case, this is the latest one I picked up from Rough Rider. And I just picked this one up. And this one is a older version from Rough Rider 2. This is the RR346. And this one has the imitation abalone. I am looking for a Barlow in abalone that I can afford, preferably one made in the United States. But for right now, this is the one I have from Rough Rider. And notice it has the horseshoe shield on the top and two blades. You know, you got your pin blade and your clip blade. And as you can tell, no half stop on either of these. But the reason I also wanted to bring this one out is because I wanted to compare the Rough Rider bolsters to most of these other Chinese-made knives, which have the square bolster. And I know a lot of people like the round bolster, but the square bolster is what I really like. I have shown this one already before. This is by Frost. You can tell that from the shield with the black enamel bomb shield with Jim Frost's signature on there. And then it is in a worm groove bone. It's like an orange worm groove bone. Nice clip blade going on there. Jim Frost signature on the blade. And I think this one says, let's scroll in. The Excelsior series, that's what it was. Notice the 5 stars and Excelsior series on there. So that's what this one is, the Jim Frost Excelsior series Barlow. I have shown it before. I like it. It is really well made. You got the brass liners. You can't see a gap there, but it's not that big of a deal. 448 stainless steel. It had the little 56 to 58 sticker on there when I first showed it. And you can see the brass pins and everything. And a nice orange worm groove bone. Really like that knife. And like I mentioned before, I also like that style of bolster better. I like that squared off bolster. The only thing that I think would have made this knife better is if the Jim Frost shield or the Jim Frost signature or even the bomb shield would have been up on the bolster instead of into the bone. But in any case, that's one of the Jim Frost knives I have. Let me zoom back out. Well, that was infuriating. Somewhere around zooming back out, I forgot to hit record again and talked about all these knives and, well, it wasn't running. So let's start all over again. And we'll go with this one here because you still want to hear about these knives, I'm guessing. But in any case, this one is the Steel Warrior brand. So the other Jim Frost knife I have, this is a Frost Barlow, and this is also a Jim Frost Barlow, but Steel Warrior this time. And it's a little bit different than the other one. For one thing, it is in snakeskin, specifically according to the box, Steel Warrior 163 boa. So boa skin, or a boa constrictor skin on this one. So, and this is genuine boa constrictor knife snake skin that is underneath the acrylic here. Unfortunately, they kind of screw up the nice snake skin by putting a shield in there. And what's worse, if you can see there, the shield is actually really proud. It's sitting well above the acrylic cover there, and I have a feeling it's going to fall out. You also have a cobra on the bolster. Why there's a cobra on the bolster when it's boa constrictor snakeskin underneath is kind of beyond me, because they do have some knives in cobra skin, but this one is in boa constrictor. And you can see that they're different on both sides. I'm not sure which would be the belly of the boa constrictor, but I'm assuming this is the belly and this is the top side. That would make the most sense. You can see there it is nicely pinned in place, or at least it looks like it's nicely pinned in place. I can assume that this pin and this pin go all the way through. These might be faux pins, which is something that people have said has been done on these knives before, where it looks like a pin, but it really is just, it isn't actually pinned into the brass liner here. Let's see if we can tell. No, I can see the hole for where that brass pin should be going into it. So I don't know if you can see it, but there is a hole there. So these pins should be actual pins that are going into the brass liner, which will help keep everything together. As you can tell, the knife has a pretty decent half stop on it. Just a regular nail nick there, so no match striker going on. And there is the cutting edge, not too bad. 440 stainless. We know that also because on the pin blade, and notice they've reversed them now. So originally this one has the pin blade without the half stop in the front. This one has the pin blade in the back, and it has a half stop. So both blades have a half stop. This one has the tested, the HRC test on there for the 58 or 56 to 58 Rockwell test. See the little dot on there. Nice little pin blade though. Other thing I noticed is, well, it's a little bit more substantial than the Jim Frost Excelsior series, if you can see there. The definitely a wider belly going on there, so a little more thickness in the handle and everything else. Let's see the blades. Are the blades also showing that thickness? I bet you they are. Yeah. So you can see there, you got a lot more belly on that blade than you have on the Excelsior series. Now this is an older Jim Frost knife. This is a newer Jim Frost knife. So I don't know if they've changed all of them or what. But thought I would show that there is a little bit of difference, or a little bit of variety in the Jim Frost, the Barlows, especially with this nice skinny one going on there. I like this one better. It's also a little bit lighter in the hand. Problem with a lot of people with the Barlows is the length of them. A lot of people don't like that 3 3/8 inch length on them. They would like the knife to be longer. That is one of the things that a lot of people have commented, and they're looking for that 4-inch Barlow. So, and I really do think that would be a good size. I wouldn't mind more 4-inch Barlows, and I would like to see some 2-blade versions of 4-inch Barlows too, with a 2-inch or 4-inch Barlow with a like a clip blade and a pin blade. And the pin blade could be a little bit bigger. The clip blade could be a bit bigger, instead of what are these, like 2.5, I think. Sorry about that. Yeah, 2.5 inches overall with a slightly over 2-inch cutting edge with with a 4-inch Barlow, you could probably get that blade out to 3 inches with no problem. I know you are starting to see a few more of those Barlows that are around 3 7/8 inches long, and that's really a good length too, because with the 3 7/8 inches, typically you end up with a 3-inch main blade, and that 3-inch main blade is more legal, or legal in more places, I should say. But in any case, let's move on to the other Barlows I have here. Go to this one first. This one you might see again. This is, and I have shown it before too. And this is by Queen City rather. And this one is actually made in China. This is one of the few Queen knives that were made in China by SMKW before they brought production back to the United States. Apparently they always wanted to have the knives made in the United States, but for legal reasons, they needed to get some production done real quick in order to maintain the trademark. And so that's why they ended up having some of the knives made in China. And this one is a little funky when you look at it as a Barlow, because if you can tell, well, the bottom, if we can see there, that is about right for a Barlow. But if you notice, it's a little concave up here, and it looks a little bit like a very shallow copperhead. And if you look here, you can see that that is the case. Notice how you got the kicks showing up here a little bit, or the tang showing up here a little bit, the back of the tangs. This one is kind of buried inside the knife, which is kind of interesting. And it gives the Barlow kind of a unique shape to it. And this is in winter bottom bone. Winter bottom bone was a classic bone of the old Queen knives that were made in the United States. And I think winter bottom refers to the company that made it. The family that made it, was their last name was Winterbottom, but they sold the bone. Or I don't know if other companies used it or not, but Queen made Winterbottom famous, and so this is a really nice look to it. And it's basically again, once a type of trying to imitate stag with bone. That's kind of what's going on with it. It's also referred to as worm groove by other companies, but this is a Queen Winterbottom. And you can see it's got the match strike poles that Rough Riders have and everything else. You got the nice clip blade with the blade edge, Queen steel, Queen down there too. And this is in 440C, made in China, as you can see right there. And, you know, nice clip blade. And then it has a pin blade as a secondary, again, opening on the back side. So, you know, you basically have to turn the knife around, or with a lot of practice, you can reach over. Good pull on these, a little stronger than some of the other knives I have. I would say a little more than medium, just slightly over medium, like maybe a 6 instead of a 5, if 5 is right there in the middle. More pull on the pin blade than the clip blade too. But really not a bad knife, and kind of an interesting take with the way they did the Barlow here. What's really nice here is you just got a plain Barlow. It would have been nice to see the big Queen Q on there, but just got a plain Barlow, and then no shield on the Winterbottom, so that's kind of good too. Okay, next up we'll take a look at this one. This one, well, who's for the America's Legacy, and it's NAFC. I don't know what that is, North American Fishing Club or something like that. And you got the largemouth bass there, and then you've got the shield on there. I think a lot of people have seen these knives. There's all sorts of them out there. This one is in white smooth bone. They got a shield on it and a fish. It would have been nice just to have the fish, and this should have been up in the bolster. I've already talked about that enough though. Got a single thread on there, or ring, single ring on there. You got the squared off bolster, which I like, and as you can tell, the pin blade is up front this time. No half stops going on. Just you know, made in China. We know all of these are made in China. Nothing spectacular about it. The main reason I bought it was because it was in white smooth bone, and at the time I did not have a standard size Barlow in white smooth bone, so I grabbed this one to fill the need. And I don't know, it's okay. The build quality is there. I mean, look at that. The blades are nice and straight. Action is, you know, all right. You know, I wouldn't say it's great. There is no real half stop here. I know I'm stopping here, but it isn't even a lazy half stop. This just goes all the way around. There's no like lock up there. It's just round. The bottom of these is round. You know, it's completely rounded, if you see there. And you can stop starting there anywhere around. Just eventually you want to get to a point and it's going to drop. So that's the way it is. Build quality isn't bad. You can see the bone could have been a little bit better there. Definitely gap right there in the bone where it just doesn't fit right. But what do you expect for basically what's like a $10 knife? I don't think I showed this yet. This is by Marbles. There was also a Winchester one like this at one time, but this one is by Marbles. This is in the Marbles exhibition grade series, and it has some of the prettiest bone going on there. It's supposed to look like a rifle stock. You know, that's the gun stock brown and everything. Got the little bullet on there with marbles in there. Single ring, actually a double ring. Ring down here, ring up on top. You got a nice pinch on the bolster there. Mostly squared off, a little bit rounded, and you got the two blades going on there. This seems more substantial than some of these other Barlows too, if you notice. Instead of 3 3/8 inches, it's a little bit more, just ever so slightly a little bit more. Is this one also that way? Yeah, both of these are a little bit more than 3 3/8 inches. I don't think it's a full 3.5, but it is definitely more than 3 1/8 or 3 3/8 inches. Yeah, you can see it right there, just barely more. Could very well be 3.5 inches. And you got a half stop on the blade. You got the swedge going on there, match strike pole, and we see there Marbles quality knives. Marbles down here too. That is just a very light edge. It might just be a pad stamp, I'm not sure. This is also a light edge, but you can feel this. This is definitely in there, but this might just be a pad stamping, so that might be easier to rub off if you wanted to. And then you've got the pin blade also with a half stop, and the swedge on the end there. Nice match strike, not bad, and really nice bone. And again, the fit and finish is not bad on these at all. You see the brass liners going on there. 440C or 440A, I think it's 440A. Does not say. I'm thinking this is 440A. Yeah, it's not marked, but I believe these are in 440A. This was 440C. This, I don't know what this is. This might be 420 for all I know. These other ones here were 440. And this is another one I picked up. I picked this one up after seeing it on Tony's channel. Tony has a lot of Barlows, more Barlows than I have. But I saw this one on his channel, and it's like, man, I gotta get that one because of the wood handle here. The way the wood is laid out on this thing. And it is, you can kind of feel a little bit of especially on this part here, you can feel a little bit of where the cuts are cut in here. It's like a herringbone almost. I can't remember what they call it in wood when you have it, that parquet. It's like a parquet finish on there, you know, not margarine, parquet, not butter, parquet. And you got the squared off bolster again, which I like. The back side is nice and straight on the wood. I don't know if it says what kind of wood it is. This is all Ram. Never heard of the company before. Obviously made in China. That sticker was actually on the knife. That was the only way it was marked as made in China. And the sticker was on the back of the blade here. So it says Old Ram on the front, and the back of the blade had the sticker on there, but nowhere on the knife does it say China. I don't think it does, at least. Is that China? Let's zoom in and see if I can screw everything up again. Yeah, well, it doesn't say China. It just says 3CR13 stainless steel. For those who don't know, 3CR13 is basically 420. It's the Chinese equivalent to 420. Let's see if I can go back out and not screw everything up. So that's the steel on this one. For the price of it, it should have been at least $448, but yeah, that's the way it goes. I bought it because of the wood handle here. It would have been nice to have that on both sides, but it is also nice to see the straight wood right there too. In any case, like the other ones, comes in right at 3 3/8 inches. Again, no half stop, but this has, well, it has, well, I guess it does have a half stop. Not the best of half stops. Again, 3CR13 steel, stainless steel in there, made in China. And for those not familiar, Old Ram is a brand from I think it's Turkey Creek Trading Company or something like that. So Turkey Creek Trading Company is one of those basically import-export houses or something. But if you see Old Ram, they're the ones who are making them, Turkey Creek Trading Company. And you'll probably see these show up eventually on something like Cutlery Corner or something like that. And, well, similar in size to the earlier frost knives, I think, rather than the later frost knives. Yeah, similar in size to the earlier frost knives. So a nice slim build there. Notice how it drops down in there too. So I am pretty happy with them, but as you can see, little scuffs on the bolsters. I don't know if that's nickel silver or if it's stainless steel. They don't really say. And if you notice, there's no pins holding the wood handles on. So who knows how durable it is. But it's a pretty cool looking knife anyway, for what it is. I think I will wrap it up now for these Barlows. That's probably the last of my Chinese Barlows, with the exception of the few Novelty Knife Company Barlows that are that came from China. Most of my Novelty Knife Company Barlows are also from the United States, though, or at least half of them are. So I'll show all of those together. But I think next up will not be Novelty Knife Company. I think next up will be Camillus. Hope you enjoyed this, and again, talk to you again soon. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.